I feel empowered also talking through a mic. Yeah. Hi, guys. Until George here fixes the presentation, I'll give a short intro. I'm Christos. I went to school also here. I did my Gymnasio Lycio, so I have lots of memories running through these corridors. I've been working in blockchain. You know, you all start, as everybody starts, investing a few money, losing them, and then kind of digging further on what I can do. What I got hooked on was governance. It's a non-financial thing. So usually you learn about blockchain, SUI, Solana, Ethereum, whatever it is. You hear about the success stories, people who bought tokens, made a lot of money, and there is another 99% that lost a lot of money. They just don't tell the story. What I found in this space, in the Solana space, and generally in the Gen 3 blockchains, because anything I'll talk about is really blockchain agnostic. It can be implemented to SUI. It has already been done in Solana. It's done by Realms, our company. Very proud of the team that is organizing also IslandDAO. So non-financial transactions, they are not, people don't consider them, but when you're voting, we've talked about DAOs, DAOs this, DAOs that, voting, and you know, DAOs, in my mind, is dudes arguing online. There's a lot of arguing when it comes to DAOs. You're usually behind, you know, the safety of your computer. You are represented by an alphanumerical sequence, so there is no real, they don't see your face, your color, your gender. It's hidden. You can be yourself. So that's another pro for the blockchain. But when it comes to voting, things get kind of boring. And we all think of, you know, different, we think of governance, we think of governments, and they're closely related. We look at decentralization as a spectrum, and all our tools are kind of based on that. Not everything is for everyone. If you are a solo founder, you don't want to give control or even ask anybody of what you're doing with your funding. So you might not even be here. This might not even be for you. And you can think of these different shades of decentralization from a pure multisig, which is an oligarchy. There's a few people that are managing money. They will not ask anyone. Down to an NFT community, which is one NFT, one vote, and you're kind of closer to direct democracy. Everything has its flaws. Plutocracy always plays a role. And we're trying to solve this by creating tools that are going to cater to different kinds of settings. And we're going to talk about a very peculiar, new kind of capital coordination, governance of capital. How do we invest capital? How do we make decisions? And how do we connect the outcome of these decisions with the pros or cons that we gain from deciding? Which means who pays the price when collective decision-making gets it wrong? And this falls somewhere there. It's easy to assign blame in a pure multisig. There's just 3 people, but when it goes down to a token community, will someone pay the price for proposing something that harmed the community? Usually the answer is no, and in real life is no. If a politician that was elected, so collective governance elected this politician, yeah, in most democratic countries, these politicians are elected. And yeah, you can argue about schematics and details, but this is the best we have. They're usually not held accountable. And the same happens with capital coordination. You might find yourself into a syndicate. Maybe we could create a syndicate today. Everybody here kinda knows about DAOs, kinda knows about tooling. We can create a fund. We can give shares, because when you buy an ETF, you hold some kind of receipt that you kinda deposited money to the ETF. And by the way, parenthesis, nothing I say is investment advice. You should not follow any hard accents on stage telling you to buy or sell or participate. This is for you to kind of go through the mind experiment and see what fits what. Like, is my organization, is my project, is my group of friends going to improve by managing it as a DAO? And the closest example that people will understand is, how do we manage capital? And we make a fund all together. We issue shares to the fund, and we start proposing investment ideas. the common goal is, of course, our fund needs to grow in value. This is why we're all invested. We're gonna, at the end of the fund, redeem our shares and take our capital back. That capital might be more or might be less, depending on the consensus. Did we invest in a good coin that went up? Our net asset value, our NAV, goes up. Did we make a bad decision by buying a meme coin that went to zero? We all lose money. So depending, this is easy to understand. This is the classic token voting. I have more tokens, I make a proposal, other token holders vote. If the majority or whatever rules we have set support this direction, it will be executed. If not, it will not. In our case, if the group expects that the investment decision is good, they obviously expect the fund will make money, so they will invest. I don't know, is this necessary? Can you hear me? Yes. Yeah, fantastic. All right. So obviously, if the group doesn't expect to make money, the group will decide to not invest. But what happens when the group deciding is actually wrong? What happens when we all decide, but we actually lose money? Who's going to pay for it? Shouldn't the person proposing this have the most to lose or to gain? Someone who kind of came out of his comfort zone, had a belief, had something he believed a lot, and how do you signal that? You signal that in a group, let's say we all agree that let's buy Bitcoin. And there is another person saying, let's buy Ethereum. If the person supporting the Ethereum side is willing to bet money behind his proposal, shouldn't his word have a higher weight? When I tell you, I'm a stihima, I bet you we're going to make money on this. And I bet my shares on that. So as we said, we created an ETF, a fund, we all got shares, and now I'm proposing, I bet some shares that this investment decision gets it right. In the system that we have developed, and the system we've just described, there is two different scenarios. It's either I propose something and we all make money, we all decided, or I propose something, you all voted yes because I'm on stage, and we kind of lost money. The betting, those that disagreed, are going to pay those that were right. So those that were wrong will pay those that were right. In our case, if the fund made money, the person who proposed it is going to receive funds or shares from those that opposed it. So always the money in this governance system will flow from those that were wrong towards those that were right. And this can be adopted in every situation, whether the fund does well, whether there is a big majority or a small minority, there will always be a case someone will be disagreeing. And if that someone has the willingness to put some skin in the game, his voice is amplified, and we should hear him, because you will not have many chances at losing his shares. So these are ideas, these are ways where I'm just describing how money is going to follow certain rules. And that's why I'm presenting that, because I'm in the company that builds those tools, that will build the veto rights, which means this was very close to how Arbitrum works, where they say we have a multisig, we have this oligarchy, where we know what's best for our team. We are the visionaries, we have the most skin in the game. We want to have control, to be agile and be fast, but the community can bond together and veto. That quorum might be very high, but there is the ability. So this is a type of governance. Delegation, proxy voting. This is a very important part in every traditional company. If you hold voting shares of Apple, you can go to the shareholders meeting and cast your vote. If you're not in the room though, you can pay a lawyer to cast a proxy vote for you. This costs 15 to 25,000 just for a single vote, to vote from here, from Greece, on a shareholders meeting in the US. Allowances and token streams, we spoke about that. These are tools that slowly distribute tokens shares of a company, titles of land, anything. Constraints, treasury constraints in dissolution. What happens when the fund ends? The fund we described is going to last 6 months. At the end, we're going to give our shares back and take part of the treasury. Whatever belongs to you according to the number of shares you are holding. All this cannot happen with someone in charge pressing buttons. Then the whole narrative is false, because in the end, you're just relying to that one person to be behind this computer to actually execute what the DAO has agreed. So this whole story makes sense if there are the tools in place. And from the example that I gave you with this skin in the game, who pays when things go wrong, you require different tooling versus one vote, one NFT. Different tooling for the example we explored earlier, where someone had locked their tokens for 4 years to gain more governance. All these are flavors, and realms build those flavors on Solana. And Solana is a great choice of a blockchain to build those, just because of the speed and the low transaction cost. And at the same time, the network effect it has. Lots of startups, lots of capital, lots of DeFi. But again, it's chain agnostic. I hope we build it for sure. And on-chain fundraising, of course, you want anything that is fundraising, you don't want to go through a third party to then be distributed. You want to be able to follow the trail on the blockchain. This is the beauty of the blockchain. It's auditable, it's anonymous, but it's not private. So you can trace the money from the individual wallets, pulling to a program wallet, then used through governance, and in the end distributed. So the treasury dissolution. These are all tools built by realms and caters to various degrees of decentralization, of that spectrum we spoke about. Island Capital. So from theory to practice. We're launching a fund like that, and by no means, this is not an invitation for you to invest. You don't need to invest. What's even more interesting is to study the game theory behind it, because this is new. Are you majoring in some kind of economics? You don't need to be an engineer. I want people to write papers, theses, to go deep into what happens to the game theory when those in charge pay for the wrong mistakes. Maybe a politician puts their salary into the line. You say, okay, I will get paid only if the standard of living index is raised. It's a very, very KPI-driven kind of decision making. So you need clear targets to set those parameters. And the parameters are voted by the DAOs with whatever parameters and settings they've decided. So Island Capital will make this a reality. Will open its doors tomorrow. It's going to be accepting USDC for the next 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks pass, those program wallets will close. You'll be getting your receipts, your tokens, your shares, which they will act as what you're betting. If you want to signal some kind of direction for the fund, maybe you have an inside information about the token, maybe you're very well studied the market, maybe you do astrology for men, or it's called technical analysis. We have a title for that. Maybe you have your reasons, maybe you're very convinced. This is the way to really pump your bugs if you are so convinced. Now, if you don't want to participate in that, join the Telegram, follow IslandDAO, follow IslandDAO, participate in the conversation. There's a lot to gain. All these tools are permissionless. What we're doing here is we're kind of showcasing you what can be achieved by combining those tools. You can find a completely different way and shock us all on how you do your buybacks, how you do your token bells, how you pay your employees, how you decide on the intellectual property, who owns it, who manages it, what is the authority your token holders have on your treasury. And again, you can have multiple treasuries with multiple settings and different kinds of control for the token holders or for the multi-sig holders. Our fund will last for 6 months. It will be governed by the Sowalian governance framework, which again is going to be very targeted. We're going to propose to buy Bitcoin. In the next 2 weeks, if Bitcoin hasn't hit the target, it will be liquidated and the NAV will change. People can bet. This is the poly markets aspect of the fund, and they can also just stay on the sidelines and allow consensus to guide their profits or losses. Happy to answer any questions in case you want to join or not want to join. Please,
I mean, this is amazing. I told you 2 days ago too. How can you follow? Let's say you don't want to put a fund, but I want to follow your progress.
This is the way.
Is there a website?
This is the way. You scan this. It's called IslandCapital.io. This is going to explain all the parameters, all the fee sharing, all the different settings that will allow this to become as democratic as possible. Nothing is hidden. Nothing goes through third parties. Everything is traceable, auditable, and remains anonymous. So even if you want to participate, you don't want to tell, you will never know. And I really hope someone breaks this engine, because we're building these tools for you to break them. Because only when you break them, they become better. And I hope to see you in the Telegram. There's a Telegram group, so that's the best way to stay in touch, to ping pong ideas, to put things on the test, do your research, and you might not want to commit your capital into some smart contract that maybe you're not very versed, you cannot audit, you cannot trust. That's your thing. Join the Telegram and copy traders. You have nothing to lose. It's free, it's open source. All the tools I spoke about, you can find them on GitHub. There's the Mythic SDK. You'll find that on realms.today there is a section for documentation. My DMs are open if you want to set up your DAO, if you want to set up a fund, if you want to play with different governance settings, you want to set up your multi-sig, your council token. It's endless. It's hard to connect those theoretic points to actual actions, but this is the best example. IslandCapital is launching tomorrow. It's going to be dissolved somewhere in August, 6 months later, and most probably will be repeated. So I hope to see you there. Thank you so much. Visit Realms